Mobtale and Mafiatale. What's the difference? To begin with, what's the difference between the mob and the mafia? As someone who's never watched any mafia or mob movies besides like that one scene in Zootopia, my research into this might be a little bit lackluster, so this is just gonna be really basic, I think. So, the mafia traditionally refers to the Italian, or more specifically Sicilian, originated organized criminal group. It has a hierarchical structure with members swearing a basically lifelong allegiance to the heads of the families in the group, and they engage in many types of illegal activities. The mob, on the other hand, is just a general word used to describe people who engage in criminal activities in an organized manner. It doesn't matter what ethnic background anyone in the group is a part of. So while the mafia classifies as a type of mob, the mob doesn't classify as a type of mafia. Like, the mafia is in the Venn diagram circle of the mob. Does that make sense? I hope so, because I'm still a little confused on the concept. Anyway, with that explained, we can go back to talking about Undertale. Mafiatale and Mobtale. Like the Mafia and Mob, these two AUs are really similar, with some videos dubbing comics from one AU, sometimes even using the wrong AU name. Or well, Mobtale specifically, since people know the term Mafia more often than they know the term the Mob. So let's look into each one, from the respective first sightings that I could get my hands on, to the most popular iterations of them that the fandom still use to this day. I decided that I'll be starting with Mobtail, as the earliest mention and designs of the Mobtail AU that I could find was on October 21st, 2015, as opposed to the earliest mention and designs of Mafiatale that I could find being on November 6th, 2015. The art was created by Tumblr user Ghost, or Inside Under, and it features a snazzy looking Papyrus and Sans dressed up in suits. They posted 3 more posts about the concept, giving Undyne Alphys and Box Metaton their own designs, and then they moved on from the concept. A different Tumblr user, however, decided to pick up the AU idea and build onto it a little bit more. On December 14th, 2015, Tumblr user New Black Neko uploaded their first publicly available fan art of Ghost's Mobtail, including how they imagined Sans and Papyrus meeting this AU's Frisk. Now we're gonna flip over to Mafiatale. Like I said, its first sighting that I could find was technically on November 6th, 2015, though this AU is called Under Mafia and not Mafiatale. Tumblr user Kid, and their ad being Kaio Kid at the time, uploaded an artwork showing a suited up Sans holding a gun. Even if they hadn't used the term Under Mafia yet, it was the design used for their official Under Mafia Sans. They then post some more Mafia Sans artwork before posting their first art with Papyrus and Gaster along with Sans, all looking really badass. Later it'd be followed by a sketch, then colored drawing of Frisk, a few more sketches with any combo of the 4 of them, before finally on November 25th, they officially made this its own AU, calling it Under Mafia. The post included a visual novel style art of the suited up Gaster, Sans, and Papyrus. However, on May 25th, 2015, an anonymous user asked if they would be continuing the AU, to which they responded by saying that they didn't think so. And it was confirmed once more years later in January 8th, 2018, when an anonymous user asked about it. They stated that they will be making no more Under Mafia content due to complications with the Korean fandom. A few fan games for this AU did pop up, one that Kid had posted about on their Tumblr page, but has since been deleted, one made in 2017 that's been discontinued, and one that was first posted about in 2021 and as of today seems to still be in progress. Now that we've gotten the basics out of the way, let's go into a little more detail about each of these, starting with the Under Mafia / Mafiatale one this time. And for this AU, the creator made it really clear that Frisk is a girl and uses she/her pronouns, so I'll be using them for her. The story goes, Asgore is the head of the Dreamer family. He and Toriel had a divorce, and after the divorce, Toriel adopted the human child Frisk. However, since there was a fight between the Dreamer family and Toriel, she feared for Frisk's safety since they had tried to kidnap her. Wanting to keep her safe, she sent them to a different family, which was the Skeleton family. This family consists of Gaster, Sans, and Papyrus. Gaster was the original head, but despite being the head, barely anything is known about him. After some time of being the head, he became tired of it and decided to pass the position on to Sans. Sans, like we all know and love, is known for being pretty lazy. Despite that, he takes his job very seriously and does his best to keep everyone in the Skeleton family safe and protected, including Frisk when she joins it. However, when Gaster offers the job of head of the family to him, he is actually really against the idea, and then he passes that on to Papyrus. Papyrus loves making spaghetti, and he also wants to create a new type of Mafia fashion, which he models for us in his outfit for this AU. He specializes as a sniper. Gaster had given him a rifle since he really didn't want to use a pistol. And he doesn't even like killing humans, but, well, Sans is able to flip his switch by telling him stuff like they trashed his spaghetti. When Frisk ended up joining them, Papyrus happily passed on the title of head of the family onto her, and everyone kinda just rolled with it. Frisk is adored by the three of them, Papyrus calling her friend, Gaster calling her boss, and Sans calling her kid. However, the thing about Frisk is that she actually has the spirit of Kara inside of her, but it only pops up when she becomes angry. It's also noted that the other characters are also in this AU but are spread out, and unfortunately, we never really got a chance to learn more about them before this AU was cancelled. As mentioned, there were a few fan games that were based on this specific AU, but so far, none of them have been completed to my knowledge. I'll link to the Tumblr page for the visual novel inspired by Mafiatale that hasn't been deleted or discontinued yet. From the game intro they released, it seems pretty promising at least. Now onto the version most people have heard of, or have seen images of, that are most often linked with not only Mobtale, but Mafiatale as well. Like mentioned before, the original creator of the idea of Mobtale didn't do anything more with the concept than just give the character some sweet suits and a couple of artworks. The AU really came to life when it went into the hands of New Black Neko, who began creating comics for the AU. And the main story of the AU is completed and still up to be read. I won't be spoiling anything major, but I definitely recommend giving it a look-see if you have the time. But for now, I'll just give the basic laydown of the AU to try and entice you into looking into it. A long time ago, or rather a few decades ago, humans and monsters were at war. The humans only having the technology and weapons against the overwhelming power of monster magic, and with their souls being weaker than the monsters, were losing drastically against them, to the point that their population had drastically decreased. Having no choice but to retreat, the humans went into hiding. As time passed, the knowledge of what humans looked like began to fade from monsters over the generations, with only older monsters who participated in the war being able to recognize them. Monsters had made a city underground called, Underground, a place for monsters to have a safe haven away from the surface. A safe haven as long as you stay out of the business of the many mob groups that had formed there. Since the underground was originally started by runaways and outlaws, the city had very little in terms of proper administration, so mobs began filling in the gaps the lack of power had left. It's in this city that the comic takes place. The first comic finds the Skeleton Bros looking through a storage unit, since they specialize in stealing high-end goods to make a good income. They spot a shaking crate, open it, and see a human child inside with a chain necklace with a dog tag that reads Frisk. Since both of them aren't even in their 30s yet, they had never seen a human before. Seeing the dog tag, Paris guesses they must be a dog, then says they must be a puppy after Sans points out that they're still a child, and he insists that they take Frisk in. In terms of the main characters, it's obviously Frisk, Sans, Papyrus, and Toriel. Toriel had been part of the mob simply titled The Gang before she separated from them and Asgore due to certain disagreements. After being solo for a while, a young Sans Papyrus came into her life and she took them in. They eventually became a small mob group of their own until Toriel retired as their boss. From there, well, I'd really urge you to just read the comic from there to find out more. It has its fluffy sides as well as some darkness mixed in, which, I mean, what's a mob story without a little something under the surface? Oh, and maybe I should mention another Mafia tale that's kind of popular. I mean, it'll show up if you look for Mafia tale, so I think it's worth mentioning. It's an Underfell Mobtale crossover, so Mafiatale. Not to say that there aren't other versions of Mafiatale and Underfell crossovers, but this one specifically is really popular. It comes from an archive of our own fanfiction called Sooner or Later You're Gonna Be Mine by Staring Back, but it seems to be discontinued. It got so popular that there's even a comic for it on Tapas. And well, I've seen it while looking for fics, but reading the tags that it has, I never even attempted reading it myself. It's a Sans and Frisk shipfic, and while Frisk is aged up, she, as her pronouns in this are she, her, is put through a ton of crap. So if you're squeamish to non-con and violence or you're underage, I'll advise you don't look into this one. And there we go. Under Mafia or Mafiatale and Mobtale's history. It's honestly pretty straightforward. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know if I made any mistakes, cause well, that kinda happens sometimes. Thank you to everyone who left many comments in my last video and being so supportive. It really made my day. Please like and maybe even comment if you have or had any connections to any of the versions of this AU. Anyway, I'll be seeing you in the next one. Take care.